So good evening, everyone. I'm just going to kind of go over how the evening is going to be structured, just for everyone's benefit, for those who are maybe here for the first time. So welcome to the January 19th regular meeting of the Historic District Commission. This is the first meeting in 2022, so Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome. For those that don't know me, my name is Regan Meyer, and I'm the chair of the commission. And I just wanted to let everybody know that this meeting is being recorded. If you wouldn't mind if everyone who is not speaking would just mute themselves so we don't have any background noise, that would just be super helpful. When you're obviously speaking, you're welcome to unmute and chat, but when you're not speaking, if you could all just mute yourselves, that would be awesome. The meeting tonight is going to be broken up into two sections. So first we'll have the public hearing portion of the meeting, and then we will have the regular meeting portion of the meeting. So the public hearing is the opportunity for applicants to present their applications to the commission and for the commission to ask the applicants questions. Once the public hearing closes, the regular meeting will then begin. The regular meeting is where the commission discusses and votes on all applications. Applicants are welcome to stay during this portion, but you're not invited to speak any further. It's not required that you stay for the regular meeting. It's just if you wanted to hear the decision right then and there, you're welcome to. But just know that I will respond to everybody via email by tomorrow regarding the commission's decision. So you're welcome to stick around, but you don't have to either. Any questions so far before we jump into things? Okay, so hearing none, I'm going to pull up my agenda here and work my dual screens. And I'm going to open the public hearing at 5:58 p.m. And the first COA we have on our agenda is COA 478, 374 Washington Street. And I believe we do have a member here to present their application. So Greg, I will let you take it away.
Sure. Yeah, we're working with you to request that we would like to replace two windows there in the rear section of our house. We have an offset, like a square in the front. I'm doing this, you can't say square in the front and square in the back. That's our kitchen area, and the windows there are obviously very old, super drafty, non-functional, and just not up to spec with what we're doing for our new kitchen. So we're hoping to replace them with Andersen Woodwright windows. They have the true divided light, so the vertical and horizontal panes and the lights in them are, the real deal, not fake or plastic inserts or anything like that. They will be replacing outside the window are what I feel is unattractive storm windows and screens, so those will be gone and go away, and they will match essentially the remainder of the windows already existing on our home on the bottom floor. They were replaced years ago, and we did a major renovation and saved the sills and the walls of the house when we moved in. So there really won't be too much of a difference in that. Aesthetically, I think they would look better. Yeah, and so beyond that, I don't know what else to say there. And if they're actually almost invisible in season when the trees have leaves and the things here. And another, I mean, not to be political, but another benefit of having these installed will be noise reduction in that area. For our neighbors on that side are a little disruptive now, so that'll be good for us as well. Yeah. So is there any questions or, and then as someone who respects our history and the homes, I've ordered them larger to fit within the not within the frame as a replacement window, but a true replacement from the inside. So they'll retain the size and the scale that they already are. And just, again, look seamless from the outside. There'll be no change in the trim, no change in anything from the outside. They'll just essentially replace the old broken ones.
Great, thank you so much, Greg. I appreciate the presentation. Do any members of the commission have questions for Greg?
This is Tim Dowan.
Mm-hmm.
So again, the trim around the outside, no change as it goes in for that. And I just want to confirm I think the COA said wooden windows, correct?
They're the Anderson Woodwright 400 series windows. I believe some of the window is clad in some kind of, they're pre-painted, but I think they are clad on the outside, but the whole house is painted white and they'll be painted over anyway. So they will match paint wise when we get, around to that side of the house again. And the storm windows will come off. So I'm gonna have to paint that anyway, because they've all been painted shut in that area. So I believe that.
And it's hard to see on the picture there, whatever, but those are 6/6, same as the other ones that you can see a little bit further. Toward the front.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. And I think you already brought up a couple of things that I was going to say, which was, I think with the foliage, you don't, you wouldn't see it as much during any of that. And certainly a plus to remove any of the storm windows. So that's a good thing. And I don't think it takes away from the other art, the arched windows, which is a focal point on the front side there. So
Yeah, and also we're retaining that door on the side, leaving that as is. It's just a historical element we did want to leave, and that was a conscious decision to not go crazy with the changes, because that would impact the house, I think, substantially. So the windows seem to be their best bet, just to focus on that and move on. But yeah,
I understand you correctly. You're saying Marco was a quieter neighbor than the RBO people.
Can you believe it? I mean, that's a mouthful right there, isn't it? He had a big personality, but yeah, the neighborhood is changing, so we want to just have a little more quiet in that space, and that's prime time for that patio right there. So that'd be helpful.
We can understand that. Great. And we also have Greg Farlow joining us today. Thanks, Greg. I just saw him pop on. So now we have 3 Gregs to keep track of in one Zoom room. This is hilarious. Any questions for Greg Boyd? Any further questions from the commission?
Thank you.
Any further questions before we move on? Okay, hearing none. So Greg Boyd, you're welcome to stick around, but you also don't have to. So I will leave it up to you if you choose to stay or leave the Zoom room.
I actually respectfully will have to go. My family's having dinner shortly, and then we're off to our next adventure with my son. So I
Sounds like
appreciate
a
your
plan.
time, though. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you so much for coming. We appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So our next COA on the agenda is COA 479, 17 Huntington Lane. And I believe we do have a couple people here to discuss the application. So the first one we will be discussing is the dormers, Megan and Mark. So let's start with that. So I'll let you guys take it away and tell us what you're hoping to do.
Mark, you want to go? Or you want me to? You have the. Well, we have a sketch now of what we want to do in the front. So I don't know, Mark, do you want to share it? You want me to?
Yeah, I'll share my screen.
Okay.
Okay. So for the record, I'm Mark Camo. I'm an architect based out of Mystic, and I'm also in my 30th year as professor of architecture at Three Rivers Community College. And I would say I'm ashamed to say that we don't have some kind of a better relationship with you guys. And I would love to have one. I was the primary author of Stonington's Design Review Board regulations with Jason Vincent and Bill Haas. And I would love to chat with you all further down the road. And I'm going to share my screen. It looks like we're good to go. So share. You guys can see the house?
Yep, we can see.
Yep.
Okay.
Great, thanks.
So this is the existing house, and it's what the Campbells want to do primarily is it was built in the 50s. It's a great little specimen. It's been kept up very, very well. it's in terrific shape. That said, it has the spatiality of a 50s house in that the rooms are small, they're very cut up, the ceilings are low, and the upstairs is just it's very small space. So in realizing the potential of this property, the Campbells want to expand into the rear of it, but more importantly, put 2 dormers on the roof, probably one right here and one right here. And I have a drawing like that. So I can enlarge that a little bit. So the upper drawing is the house as it is now, and you just looked at. The house has a stone facade on the main part of the structure, and then there's a it's a wide 7¼ inch exposure wood clad siding on this side. It's interesting because the original blueprints, which are blue, which tells you how old the blueprints are, show from my cursor to the right, the entirety of the structure was built at the same time. This little node over on the left end came later on. What's interesting is that the shutters are different. These are paneled shutters on the main part of the house, and then they're louvered shutters on the left and on the right. So the long and short of it is we'd like to add these dormers. Very typical for within the vernacular of a structure that would have been built for this period. I for some reason felt that it was best to pick up the louvered shutter versus the paneled shutter on those dormers in the top, because I want to pick up the siding. Obviously, we're not going to stone veneer it, so I want to pick up the wide exposure siding from the left side here and use the same thing on the dormers. I think it'll blend in much easier, picking up the same window design that we have here. And then over on sort of the mudroom breezeway area, which will now become a breakfast nook expansion of the kitchen, we've got 2 small windows that will replace this one window. And we're proposing to do 2 small double hung windows, picking up the same details as the flanking windows on the left. And I personally think that that having the vocabulary of the windows on the left and right and top be the same sort of accentuate the stonework and celebrate it a little bit. Let it bring itself out to be a little bit different, because it is so different compared to the rest of the facade. And then we'll have a door that a 2/3 glass door with onion style lighting on the left and right side of it. So I guess I went beyond the dormers into some of the other work that we were going to do. I put on this drawing that we would propose to use the Marvin Ultimate series, the Marvin Ultimate, which is performance-wise a window that I really love. I do like the Munton profile in that window, and this is the structure is 1950, not 1789. And there's such a hodgepodge of things going on here. I don't know, what it is I should go in and match. I work in Mystic quite a bit, so I know it can be a sticky issue, and we're completely wide open to whatever your guidance is on this at the same time. Other than that, Megan, did I miss anything? It's kind of straightforward.
Yeah, it's straightforward. And then I also sent, I'm sure you guys saw the photos. There's 2 other capes already on the street that have dormers. So it would be within keeping with the same look as the other houses that are around the same age in the neighborhood. And I think that pretty much is everything in the front that we have talked about. So yeah, we don't have necessarily, we haven't, picked out the details of things like the windows, but obviously we would stay within what's acceptable. We currently live in the historic district, and we've replaced the windows before, so we know the deal. I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all for the front.
Okay, great. Thanks, guys. We appreciate you both being here. Any questions from members of the commission for the 2 applicants?
I just had one question. So the door that you're showing this, you're adding a door. Isn't there already a door over there?
Yeah, there is. There's an old door over there. It's going to have to get replaced. Honestly, we haven't picked out the exact design yet for it. There's a lot of work to be done at this house, so we will have to circle back, but the current door that's there will have to go.
Yeah, you
So
can
it-
see it's a metal storm panel door that's there now.
Yeah, I think I've been in that house before. At the, so the door, you didn't show it in the upper drawing, that's why I was kind of curious. So it's not a new door, it's just replacing the door.
Just replacing, yep.
Exactly. Yep. Good point.
From a dormer standpoint, though, again, those dormers a little bit wider than what the three examples that you showed in the neighborhood, only because they would include also the shutters, is my understanding. Yes, it'll be a little bit larger.
A little bit larger, and really it was also driven by the rooms are very small up there with not a lot of usable room. So the shutters help us broaden them a little bit. And I think when they're exactly the same window from below, even though they look longer, they're actually not. They're the same window, just put up in the dormer. But we're trying to get some functionality out of that. And I did play with the scale of that back and forth. And what I myself really don't like are dormers that under-represent themselves, nor over-represent themselves. And this was kind of the sweet spot that my eye just kind of arrived at with something that's good, functional, adds a lot of good room. And at the same time, on first blush, at least to me, I said, oh, okay, well, there's the dormers, and
Yeah.
you know,
So,
they're not
and
small,
so
they're
with-
not big.
Yeah, with the same size as down below, then on the other example dormers, a lot of times you lose below might have been a couple rows different. These are 9/9, I think below is what I'm looking at. For the most part, you'll be able to keep 9/9 up on top, I would think, correct?
We want the same windows, whatever
Yeah.
we want them to look the same. Otherwise it would look strange, I think, to be on, they need to be looking the exact same as the ones that are there. Yeah. for sure.
Right. But if you look at the mustard one, Judy Hamlin's, or some of the other ones, they sometimes lose one of the rows. Like on the mustard one, it was 12/12, but up above it's, they lose one of those rows, I guess. This one won't lose that. Is what I'm
Visually, I
Thinking-
don't think that would be my ideal, right, Mark? I don't think that makes sense. So I think ideally it would I think visually it's better if they're the same windows that are currently there.
Yeah. okay.
Yeah, there is sort of there's 9/9 on the left-hand side,
Mhm.
and then these are 16s actually. You can see on these main windows there's 16/16. Oh no,
Yeah,
the
okay,
12
yeah.
the 12/12, 12/12.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
So we would want to match that if we could. Like I said, only to get real functional space up there. I told Megan if we're going to do it, we should really make sure that in the end it's functional.
Okay. Good. I didn't see that those ones were covered with the in the picture that came. So 9/9 to the left, but what you said 12/12. So whatever goes along with that,
Yeah.
would match vertically above that with the dormers. Okay.
And then you
And then-
can't really see it from the photo, but along the top part, it's nice dental molding. So, we're kind of hoping to sort of reflect some of those same details that you see in the house currently. So to me, when we're done, the dormers will look like they've always been there, as opposed to sticking on after the fact.
I was going to say, so again, the mustard one has a little bit more detail and fanciness in the dormers themselves, where the other two not as, not
Yeah,
as.
I want to repeat it. So like I said, along the stone section there, that top piece along the whole, across the door, across the door, across those windows, there's a really pretty little piece of dental molding. So I
Yeah.
think that we'll probably sort of repeat that look. Just, I'm a designer, so, and between Mark and I, details are important. So I think, little things like that, just so it'll sort of mimic the look of the rest of the house, because the house has a very like storybook little look to it. So I kind of want to keep the look of that it's very picturesque. So
Yeah.
yeah, anything we put there needs to blend and look like it was part of the house from the get-go.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Welcome.
So the windows will be the windows will match, and the dormers will match the ones down below, which is the 12/12, not the 16/16.
Yeah, whatever that is on, I think those are 12 over 12, right, Mark?
Yeah, I think they are, yeah.
Yeah, so whatever those are, that's what we would do above them as well.
Okay.
Did you guys happen to mention what kind of windows? I mean, I know we've been talking 12 over 12, but correct me if I'm wrong, were you talking Anderson or Marvin? I don't know if I recall from what you were saying earlier.
I use both interchangeably, but lately I've liked the profile choices with the Marvin Ultimate series.
Oh, right. Thank you. I did hear that. Thank you. Okay, great. Thank you. Just taking notes. Any further questions for the applicants from members of the commission? At least on the dormers. We have them for the next two applications. So,
Lots of work to be done.
any further questions about the dormers specifically before we move on to the other projects?
I guess we should ask, are those the Marvin Ultimates? Is it wooden or is it what's it clad or is a mix? What's the material?
That's it's a clad material. It's wood on the inside, but it's a clad material on the outside.
And that's actually what we were approved to put onto I think the current house that we have, because that way we can paint the inside and then white, of course, because they're going to be white anyways on the outside. So
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
so they'll be white outside. Okay. That's
yeah, they're going to stay. I think they all are currently white. This is not a farmhouse built in the last few years, so we won't be going with black. So we'll stay white the way the other ones are, and we would want the wood on the inside so we can paint them so that they look like everything else.
Okay, great. Awesome. Okay, any further questions for Megan and Mark on the dormers? Oh, actually, now that I'm remembering, I do have one quick question. So we had talked about that replacement door in the breezeway area, and you guys said you were thinking about that still, but hadn't figured that out yet. So, just send me a COA when you figure out the door replacement.
I will, as soon as we pick one, but that's a little bit down the road.
Yeah, no
But
problem.
I will circle back when we get to that moment. That'll be a happy day because we'll be closer to being finished.
There you go. Okay, great. So hearing no further questions, we'll then just move on to the next COA, which is COA 480, 17 Huntington Lane. And I'll turn it over to you and Mark again, Megan.
Which one is this? The roof?
This is roof, yes.
Okay, so that's pretty simple. We're just replacing the roof, actually with the same brand of shingles that's currently up there. And so those pictures kind of do double duty that I sent. We're not 100% sure which color we're going to go with. So it'll either be the brown that sort of looks like a cedar shake, right? So it'll sort of like the mustard house, or we'll be going with some sort of gray. But we're just replacing asphalt for asphalt. So pretty straightforward.
Mhm. Great, thank you.
Those are architectural textured shingles?
Yeah, they have, the brand that we're looking at using is called Certainteed. And their shingles have more of a profile that mimics like wood shingles. So it has a little bit more depth to it as opposed to like a flat.
Yeah.
So I guess
Good.
it has an architectural look to it, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Great, thank you. Any further questions for, go ahead, Greg Farlow, go ahead. If you can just unmute.
You're gonna let me speak now.
There you
Mostly
go.
Mark,
Yep.
knock on the screen. What are your thoughts on metal roofs?
Metal roofs.
Yep, roofs
Um,
instead of shingles, metal.
Standing seam metal.
Huh?
It's like a standing seam metal roof?
I'm assuming so. They advertise them all the time. Metal roofs.
Yep.
No?
I'm a fan of that. They're long lasting, they're historic,
Okay.
actually. I had a project approved in Mystic, and from what I understood going in, they were coming up Frankenstein's Hill with all of their torches. And I had a picture of the oldest bank in Mystic with a metal roof going back in the late 1800s. And they were like,
Okay.
where the hell did you get that picture from? But I think they're functional and they're very nice.
All right, thanks.
Yep,
Because
you're welcome.
I had not had experience and I thought from an architecture standpoint, you could fill me in. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
You get to the, I noticed in the estimate from the roofer, it talks about a rolled roofing in certain areas.
Oddball things that we've been finding or getting.
I don't know what that is. Sorry,
Is that on your estimate, Megan?
I guess, but I don't know what a rolled roof is.
So I think that's over that screened in porch in the back.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So then
And-
the screened in porch in the back, the pitch is not deep enough to have regular shingles. So it's a rolled off piece of
Nice.
whatever's currently there. It's the same material. And it'll be either, apparently now it comes in different colors. So I can match it to whatever roof color we choose, but you have to put it on when your pitch isn't steep enough for regular shingles.
Let's see, and Brian added,
My understanding is that, again, that I had the same question. Where was the flat part of the roof? It's out of sight from the front or anything like that.
Yeah,
There's
it's
not visible
a-
from any place.
Yeah, it's
Correct.
a screened-in porch from the back, in the back side of the house that you can't see.
And I know, this is more toward Regan. Certainly color wise, we don't have a say necessarily in paint colors on the house or anything. I don't know if we have any say necessarily in the color of the asphalt shingles. Or, certainly I don't have any issues with either of the two of them, but I wasn't sure if that was the color was part of something that we vote on.
Yeah, no, that's a good question, Tim. We can certainly recommend or encourage a color, but no, we don't have authority over paint color in general, so we couldn't make that
If
a,
it makes you feel better, I'm excellent when it comes to color, and the house is roughly staying the same color that we're doing a white house, but the shades are slightly different on everything. So whatever roof color we go with will be the perfect match to the colors of the house, if that makes you feel better.
sounds good. Okay, great. So any further questions for Megan and Mark on the roof project? Okay, I'm seeing shaking of heads. All right, sounds good. So we're going to move on then to COA 481 17 Huntington Lane, which is new construction and the addition that we've heard a little bit about already. So Megan and Mark, I'll let you take it away once again.
Mark, I'll let you share if you can, if you have it. And then I will just say the additions in the back. So the only portion that technically you would see from the public side is what will essentially look like it's part of the garage. So it's just an extra, few feet in the back of the garage that you would even be able to see. The rest of it you'll see it on the plans. The rest of it actually goes into what's currently sort of a nook within the house. So you wouldn't actually see most of it from the road. So the only thing you'd really see is if you're coming around the corner, you would see the side, what would look like basically an extension of the garage. Not that anyone would know. Once it was on, it would just look like the garage.
I'm looking for that drawing. Hold on a second.
It's 1221 was the.
I think I'll just open the CAD. It'll
Okay.
be easier.
So Megan, in the application, you have a floor plan shown. Which is the new part on there? The piece that wraps behind the garage and the mudroom?
Correct. Mark's gonna pull it up so we can sort of talk to it. But yeah, so it'll be the kitchen is tiny, so it'll be an extension of the kitchen. And then the reason why we're extending it behind the garage is currently the laundry is in the basement. And we bought this house for my mom so that she could live on one floor. And so I need to get the laundry upstairs. So this is how it currently looks back there. This is the tiny little kitchen and half bath. And then
Yeah, I can, if you want to walk you can see this okay?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, let
Or-
me see it.
or is the black easier?
I don't have a preference. I see both either way. So either way is good.
Okay. So the front of the house is here where my cursor is. This is the stone facade. And this right now is a very small kitchen with a very small, you can see bathroom, half bath off of it here. And kind of a clumsy interchange that happens here and quite a bit of mud room. And then you go out into the backyard. So our proposal is to expand this in the back a little bit and redo the mudroom and create a little bit of a wine bar breakfast area right here. Open up this wall into this front room to allow for a little more free flow of circulation. There's a back buffet built into the dining room, which it sorely needs right now. And then expand the kitchen out into this area, which is beyond the garage, and then wrap it around the back of the garage to include a new powder room with a pantry and a laundry. So that's the line of the original back of the garage. So we're adding on to this and coming back over like that. And that roof will probably just shed back, no gables, just a shed back to the rest of the structure. So again, that's the existing. And what we are doing is we're basically coming out and going over and coming back like that.
And not
then
up.
Right.
Okay.
And the only part that you'll potentially see from the road would be where that laundry room is, that back piece of the rest of it is, you would not see from the road.
Right. Which would be essentially a typical, like a carriage shed coming off of the gable that's there now. They used to have those on the back of garages centuries ago to cover wood, firewood. So I would probably try to make it look like something that's utilitarian like that, even though it's cloaking a laundry room.
So
Great.
that front entryway, that changes a little bit somehow, other than just the door. You're saying you're doing a different window treatment to the left of that entryway, and then
Right.
And-
So currently, there's a wall back here with a screen with a Home Depot metal screen door, and you come into it and go into the kitchen, and there's a window here over the sink. So what we'll be doing is pulling that wall out a little forward, putting a nicer door in, and creating an airlock, a mud room. Because it's going to be so traffic ridden, we wouldn't want the door to open up and today's cold goes into the kitchen area. So you'll go from the garage through the mudroom or through the covered entry into the mudroom and into this space here, and then into the renovated kitchen like that. And we're replacing the one larger window that was over the kitchen sink with just two smaller windows that keep more in scale with what's going on all the way to the left of the house over here.
Yeah,
I
better
think it's a-
symmetry.
Yeah, better balance to do that, I think.
Yeah.
and so you wouldn't really see that wall, the outer wall, I guess, of the mud room moving closer to the front at all necessarily, because that's kind of undercover currently right now. Is that
That's correct.
or behind a screen? So okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you won't really notice anything from the front of the house, other than the windows, of course. But past that, you would not notice anything.
Did you
Thank
happen to have a proposed window for those two that you're replacing that single window with?
The same thing I would propose, and really either way, like I said, I'm very interchangeable because my contacts at both Anderson and Marvin know that I do most of my work is in a historic, an HTC somewhere. So they'll match out. They've got 3 different Muntins that we design with. And so we would basically take a look at what's there and try to match up to the Muntin that we have the most. Marvin Ultimate Series, though, is the one that I find to be the top performer.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Do any members of the commission have questions for Mark or Megan?
I don't think any questions. It looks pretty nice. Random observation. I mean, the new bathroom doesn't seem that much bigger than the current bathroom.
It actually is a lot bigger because I think we're gaining almost 9 feet coming back off of there. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, so, I mean, right now, the current bathroom, part of my thinking is as my mother gets older, in case she has issues and is ever in a wheelchair, the current bathroom, she would never be able to even sort of get through the door. And the new one she would. So that was kind of part of the thought process behind this too, is just the functionality as you get older. That's important. So yeah, it's bigger. I mean, it's not going to be huge because it's just a half bath, but it'll be a better shape. And right now it has this tiny little half circle sink in there, and it'll have a regular vanity, and it'll just be slightly large enough for a half bath without being crazy, but at least it'll allow for a more functional space too.
Better access.
Better access for sure. Yeah.
Great, thank you guys. Nancy, you've been very quiet. Do you have any questions? I don't mean to call on you, but just want to make sure you're all set. Oh, I think you're muted, Nancy. We still can't hear you. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have called on you. There we go. Now,
No.
now you're good.
Yep, no questions. Thank you, though, Reagan.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Who's barking?
I don't know, I heard a little dog barking someplace.
Yeah, whose dog is that?
Brian, $400.
That
Not
would be
mine.
mine. That would be mine. He's a schnauzer and a barker.
Okay, Schnauzer, yeah, okay.
That's funny.
Knock it off, Cash.
Great. So does anyone have any further questions for Megan and Mark?
And just to confirm, that's a 9-inch, that's a 9-foot bump out in the back, correct?
In that behind the garage, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the bump out's obviously further from the back of the house because it's kind of nooked in there, but yes.
Right. Yep, okay, good.
Great. All right. So anything for the Mark or Megan you want to add at this point?
I think we're good.
Okay. Great.
I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Hey,
appreciate
Regan,
it.
before we close it though,
Oh, yeah.
so we know that the door it has to be another COA. It's like we can approve this even though there'll be some sort of entryway or whatever, but we don't have, excuse me, I don't want to get ahead of myself. We could approve this and then deal with the door later on, correct?
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, that's not a problem. Yeah.
Right.
Megan, just send me the COA and information when you guys have that figured out.
I will. We, there's so many moving parts that I'm trying to get some of the bigger stuff out of the way, and then I'll start to focus on the details. So once we have that, I'll send you what we're looking at to do.
But
Sounds like a
I guess
plan.
you're gonna have to do that before you do the build though, because you're moving that wall. So you're not gonna put the old door back in the new wall, right?
The front wall, not really. No, the back wall is being moved and there won't be a door there anyway. So we don't have to worry about it right now.
Oh, I thought you said you were bumping that forward wall up a little bit.
Right. That
I
mud
don't-
room.
I think it does come forth a little bit. So we might want to choose that door and get it in for approval sooner than later, Megan.
Okay, I'll try and figure that out then.
Yeah,
Um,
that's easy to do. I called out a 2/3 light Therma-Tru it's a really nice looking door and it's very energy efficient. And they've got some great series that are meant for historical areas. So I think we can probably find something that'll fit the bill nicely.
yeah. Okay.
Sounds great. Well, you know how to get in contact with me, Megan, so just keep me posted.
I will.
Awesome. So if there's no further questions or comments, I think I'm going to then close the public hearing here at 6:17 p.m. So Mark and Megan, you're welcome to stick around. You're also welcome to leave, whatever you feel most comfortable doing. And Megan, I'll just be in touch with you via email tomorrow.
Sounds good. And I will let you go since I have a dog to feed and that's why he's barking. So thank you guys. I appreciate your time. Any further questions or anything, let me know, but I'm aware of the door situation. So don't worry. We won't just put one in. I will get you a COA once we get to that point. But other than that, I think that's everything. So thank you.
Great. We appreciate you both being here. Thank you both for coming.
Appreciate it. I got to run off to Stonington now and on their WebEx and as it goes. And I appreciate your time. And this was a pleasure. Great to meet you guys. Finally.
Great. Thank you so much, you both, and have a great evening.
Thanks,
You too. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Okay, let me get my agenda back up here. Okay, great. All right. Hi, everybody. Just back to us. All right. So we are now in the regular meeting portion of our meeting this evening. The first item on our agenda here is action on COAs. So I would entertain a motion to approve COA 478 374 Washington Street as presented and written.
I move we approve 478 as presented.
Thank you,
I'll
Nancy. Is
second.
there a second,
I'll
Tim?
second it.
Great, thanks, Tim. Any discussion?
Seems appropriate.
Yeah, I think he covered all the bases there and I can imagine knowing that VRBO, it does get noisy down there. So he probably does want a little bit of relief from the noise.
I know, that's a really unfortunate situation. So I feel for them very much. So yeah, I think everything looks good and sounds appropriate as well.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm just gonna do the roll call vote then, just based on where you guys are in my screen. So there's no preference, or it's just where you happen to fall. So Nancy, I'll start with you.
Aye.
Greg Johnson,
Aye.
Greg Farlow. I saw you say aye.
Aye.
even though you're-
Okay, I put the
Thank
hand up,
you.
There
There you
little
go.
hand
Thanks.
like that, like this,
There
Little
you
hand
go.
in the corner. All right, no hand. All right, I'm learning this. This is fun.
There we go. And then Tim.
I'm last again, huh? Okay,
I know.
I'm putting my hand up. Can you see it?
No.
No, I
Okay.
can't see you.
Aye.
Thank you, Tim. And then I also vote aye. So the motion passes unanimously. Thank you all. So next item on our agenda here is COA 479, which is 17 Huntington Lane. And this is the application regarding the installation of the dormers. So I would entertain a motion to accept the COA as written and presented.
Something happened over the weekend because they both came down and said,
If that was
So
someone
moved.
saying it, I'll second whatever that person was saying.
I was asking for a motion.
Oh, okay.
So moved. I make a motion that we
Thank-
accept them on Huntington
I'll-
Lane.
I'll second that one too.
Okay, great. Thank you both. So Greg Farlow made the motion, and then Tim Dowan seconded. Any discussion?
well, they come over and beat on the door,
Hmm.
Any discussion? No discussion?
To me, it looks appropriate. I think they're going to do the right thing here. It's a little bit wider than all the examples that they provided, but it was difficult to see that. So it was good that they brought up the other 3D picture or whatever that they were able to zoom around. Otherwise, I wouldn't been able to see the actual
Mhm.
windows below. But
Yeah,
to me,
Yeah.
it looks.
So what do you do with a non-historic house that's in a historic district?
Mhm.
technically it's historic because it's 50 years or older.
See, I don't think I don't consider the 50s historic, but
Mm-mm.
Neither
You're
did,
ancient.
neither did the city attorney when I told him that's the definition. He's like, oh, well, then by that definition, I'm considered historic.
Oh, he's just the ancient level, the next level up.
Yeah, but
Right.
technically the standard is 50 years and older. It's considered historic. That's what the National
Huh.
Park says. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
historic. Yes, I'm historic. Put me on an auction block. Yeah. Get some money out of me. Okay, let's move. I'm sorry.
That's
Move
okay.
ahead.
Any further discussion on the dormers specifically?
No. Mhm.
Okay, hearing none, I will do the roll call vote. And Nancy, I'll start with you.
Aye.
Greg Johnson,
I
Greg Farlow,
Aye.
Tim,
I
and I also vote aye. So the motion passes unanimously. Thank you all. So then next up, we have COA 480, 17 Huntington Lane. And this one is the roof COA. So I would entertain a motion to accept the COA as presented and submitted.
I'll move that we accept it as
Great.
submitted.
Thanks, Tim. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay.
Oh, wow, you both did. That was funny.
Nancy. Yeah.
I
Well,
think I
we're
heard
ready.
Nancy first, so we'll say Nancy seconded.
Mhm. It's fine. You
Any
win.
any discussion?
Mm-mm.
I'm not as good with colors or whatever. I would have liked to have maybe heard which one she was leaning toward, but it didn't really sound like she was leaning towards something. But it's like for like, asphalt for asphalt. Good to
Mm.
know that Greg, he mentioned that the metal stuff is historically correct or whatever. So that's good information.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. No, I think it looks good. And I don't have a preference for the color, so I'm sure whatever they go with is going to be great.
Mhm.
Hopefully they don't change and make it pink. But
I don't think I've ever seen pink shingles before, but who knows? Okay, so any further discussion? Hearing none, I will do the roll call vote again. So Nancy, I'll start with you.
Aye.
Greg Johnson,
I
Greg Farlow,
Aye.
and Tim.
I
And I also vote aye, so the motion passes unanimously. Thank you all. So the last item here is COA 481, which is again 17 Huntington Lane. And this is the new construction with the addition. So I would entertain a motion to accept the COA as written and presented.
I move we accept COA 481 as presented.
Thank you, Nancy.
I'll
Is there a
second.
Second.
Oh, man.
Let's put just Greg second. Go ahead. Mr. Johnson can have it.
It's a double Greg second.
There we go.
Go ahead.
I will give it to Greg Johnson. Greg
There you
Farlow's being very differential.
What's the difference?
Yeah.
It passed. Good.
So any discussion or any further discussion on this application?
Mhm.
I was a little bit nervous and just with the COA as it was written, I guess. It didn't have much detail, but certainly his presentation brought out whatever they were doing there. And I don't think that bump out is actually going to be seen even from that side. You're not going to certainly see it from the backyard. And even as you're coming around that corner, it'll be very difficult or minimal that you'd actually see the bump out. So.
I mean, so what gets included with the application? Because the written application doesn't really have any detail at all for the record of what's being done.
Yeah, so that's a good point, Greg Johnson. She had submitted all these things last minute, right before our meeting and right as we were discussing of canceling our meeting, actually. And
Right.
I had gotten her first two applications, which was the dormer and then the roof. And I had remembered that I had talked with her on the phone that morning, to tell her what she needed to do to apply. And she had talked about the addition too. But then when I just got her two COAs, she did not have the addition in there. And I'm like, oh, well, Megan, I need that. Like, you need to send me a COA for the addition. And she sent it at like, I don't know what time it was, like 6 o'clock on the evening before Catherine and I needed to send information to the city the following morning. And I just didn't have time to be like, you need to give me more. I just was like, fine, you gave it to me. I just got to get this out to the city in time. So that was why that was lacking. Basically lack of time.
But we cover ourselves though, because we make a motion that it's as submitted and presented, and this is being recorded, so we could say that,
Mhm.
you know, whatever they're presenting here is included in that, even though there's less details in what was submitted, I guess, or at least what we saw.
I guess my point is, I don't know how long these recordings are kept or how accessible they are. But you know, if somebody has a file of these COAs, it's very difficult to just, if you look into this file, oh, what was COA 481, and there's nothing listed except one checkbox that says addition, and you look at the plan and you can't tell on there what's the addition.
Yeah, no, I understand completely. What I can always do too, Greg, to add some information is when I'm writing out the approval, I can, write out what was discussed in the meeting and what their plan was for the addition. So I can at least have that text attached to the COA, because what I also do when we vote on our applications, I send them all to the city. So then that becomes the final version of the document. So
Okay.
whether or not we deny them, table them, or approve them, the city has that final piece of documentation attached to the COA. So I can add that documentation if that's helpful.
I think
So
that would
that,
be
How
good.
long,
that last minute stuff that she sent, was that reflected in what was presented? Any of those CAD drawings or more detail?
No, she did not have the CAD drawings. When I spoke with her on the phone that morning before she, or the morning of actually, when she submitted everything, she said that by Friday she would have the CAD drawings, and they would not make, them being submitted with the meeting materials for Wednesday. As Catherine knows, we have to send everything 5 days in advance for the city clerks. So I said, well, then in that case, then I'll allow you guys to share your screen. So then that can still be a part of the public record and part of the public hearing, since I didn't get it in time.
how long are these held at the recordings? Do you know what the longevity is in the city?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'll have to ask the IT department because I'm not sure.
Okay, just curious. I think that's what Greg was bringing up.
Yeah.
The other question I had, Reagan, is are the windows covered in this COA or not? Because they talk about a lot of things, but none of the COAs have windows mentioned, I don't think.
Yeah, you're correct. And that's why I was asking a lot of questions about the windows, because she didn't talk to me on the phone about windows, and the COAs didn't reflect windows. They were reflecting the larger projects as a whole. So I'm happy to go back to her and say, yes, I know we discussed the windows, but they technically really should have their own COA attached to them.
I mean, I guess the windows in the dormers are covered because that's part of the addition for the dormer. But the taking out the one window and putting in the two windows there on what's going to be that kitchen area or that wine bar nook or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not listed in the COA anyplace.
No, you're correct, Greg. She didn't say that verbally over the phone, and we just heard it now. So yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
So maybe when she puts in the COA for the door they want to change, she should add that window part too.
Terrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though there were no studies that showed that this really
They
happens.
hadn't decided on that window. He said, yeah, we'd like to do something like that. So I guess it would fall into that same thing. Excuse me. It sounds like it would fall into the same line of if they've got to come back for the door, then yeah, I agree. Come back for the window finale,
How quickly are they looking to get started on all of this construction?
Quickly, when I had mentioned to her, hey, Greg Farlow, I'm just gonna mute you because I can hear Cam in the background, so I'm just gonna mute you, sorry. I, when I spoke with her on the phone, she seemed to want to get started as soon as possible. I don't know exactly what their timeline is, but she was concerned that she was going to lose her general contractor if we didn't hold our meeting in January to get started on some of this work, probably as soon as they get their permits in order. Sorry, I'm just going to take one more piece of note. Was that Nancy? Was that you? I'm sorry. I thought I heard a.
No, sorry.
No, you're fine. You're totally fine. Okay. Sorry, I can't take notes and talk at the same time. Okay, there we go. Okay. So any further discussion?
Just to clarify though, she did send you something, not the CAD or anything like that, but she did send you extra stuff that we didn't necessarily see before.
No, I
The-
didn't get
yes.
anything extra.
Oh.
Everything that you guys saw is what I saw.
Was what you got. Okay, good. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Right.
I had Catherine send the floor plan separately too, because it was hard to see in the COA. I knew that it wouldn't be able to be zoomed easily, so you guys got the COA and then also the PDF of the floor plan that she sent. So should we so when I send her the approval, I can say in the notes about what we understood the proposed addition was going to include. So just that we have that documented better for future records. And I can also say something like, the window, the going from one window to two windows needs to come back before us. And also the door needs to come back before us as well. So that section of the project will need to come back, but the addition piece that they discussed can move forward, but that front portion needs to come back to us. Does that make sense?
That does to me, and I don't think it slows them down as they're, if they really have that need to move type of thing.
Okay, sounds good. Sorry, I'm just taking notes, guys. Okay, so so we're just voting on the addition portion then of the application, and I'll get back to them and say that they need to come back to us for the front portion.
Great.
Okay, great. So any further discussion?
Before we close, I have a question, but that'll
yeah.
be the.
Oh,
What's
at
the
the
status
end.
what's the status of Burger King? Do you
Oh,
know?
we'll get that at the end, okay? Well,
That's
let's
what I
just finish up
figured,
with these voting things.
All right.
So
Yeah.
I'll do the roll call vote next. So I'll start with you, Nancy.
Aye.
Greg Johnson,
Aye.
Greg Farlow,
Unmute. Aye.
thank you. And Tim,
Last again,
I'll make you first next time. And then I also vote aye. So the motion passes unanimously. Thank you, guys. Next up, we have the approval of minutes from the excuse me, I'm getting tongue-tied. Wednesday, November 17th, 2021, and December 15th, 2021 regular meeting minutes. Is there a motion to accept the minutes as written and submitted?
I will make that motion.
Thank you, Greg
For the
Farlow.
minutes written as written.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks,
I
Nancy.
did read them.
Appreciate it.
I
Any
did read them.
discussion? What was that, Greg?
Me?
Yeah, I thought
No.
you said something. Discussion?
Mm-mm.
Okay, great. Any discussion on the minutes? Just that, Captain, thank you for doing them. We appreciate you being here every meeting and taking minutes. So thank you so much. Awesome as always. I will do the roll call vote, and Tim, I'll start with you this time. I'll go from last to first. So Tim, I'll start with you.
Well, in this one here, I'm kind of in a quandary because I was at November, but I wasn't at December. So how do I
Read the minute.
approve half of them? I
Um,
vote aye on half of it.
you could abstain, or we could break it out into voting
No,
on
I'm
the
gonna-
two separate sets of
No.
minutes.
I'll abstain.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you, Tim. Greg Farlow,
Aye.
Greg Johnson,
Well, I was not at the November meeting, so I'm
Oh.
going to abstain from that. I don't,
Between
I didn't
you.
see the December ones in that email that was sent out.
good question. Let me double check. I know there's stuff out.
The December one was there, but it was huge. So you may
Oh,
have to check.
never
It
mind.
was
I
like-
see it. If there's a PDF, I'm sorry.
Which one was that?
Yeah, Catherine's saying it was, one was a Word document and then one was a PDF. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's right. Usually the minutes are the Word documents. I was only looking for at the Word documents, a
Yeah.
PDF one. So I vote yes on the December ones, but I'm gonna have to abstain on the November because I wasn't there.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Greg. Nancy,
Aye on both.
and I also vote aye. So even with two abstentions, the minutes do pass because we have a quorum, so we are good to go. Moving forward here, chairman's report, I'll just quickly say, just a quick update on where we are with the design guidelines. I want to just thank you all so much for reviewing them and providing feedback to Chris. Chris did tell me, Greg Johnson, that he's loved your edits that you've made so far. He thinks they're great and was very pleased to get them. So far, I was the only one giving him comments, so he's like, yes, finally, I got someone to give me
I'm still
feedback.
I'm still going to complain that doing the online edits in the Acrobat thing is a lot more difficult than just working on a Word document.
I know, I understand that. He was just
Yeah.
very concerned about a Word document circulating that is an official document. That's why we were concerned and trying to play it safe. So I know it's not the easiest way, but I appreciate everyone's help in reviewing these guidelines. So thank you.
Mhm.
And so the hope then would be if you guys can send any comments to Chris or myself by the end of the month, so that Chris has some time to just incorporate some of those edits and changes in time for our next meeting in February, because I'll have to get it to the city clerks about a week in advance of our meeting so that it can be public. That would be great. So if you guys can send every last minute changes, edits by end of January, early February at the latest, that'd be great.
So Regan, I mean, this is another problem with not doing it in Word where you can see all the track changes and all the changes to the document as it's made. How are we going to know that he has incorporated the changes that we've suggested?
I'm going to meet with him and he's going to go through every single suggestion or edit that he's received from us. He's going to go, I'm going to spend probably a long time with him, but we're going to go
We get it.
change by change and do it together in tandem. So I'm able to see everything that goes into the document. And then what you guys will see then is your changes incorporated into the final document. And, you know, you can just review the final doc when it's all said and done for the February meeting. People are welcome to come join me on that Zoom call with Chris. I think it's going to take a while. So
It's a 93-page document. Yeah, it's going to take a while.
yeah.
Good
So-
document, though.
You know, one question I have, and I haven't, I've only gotten through, a fraction of all those pages so far, but a philosophical question. A lot of these are supposed to be guidelines.
Yeah.
To me, guidelines are something that are recommendations, are things you should do. They're not regulations, which are things you shall do and must do.
Right.
But a lot of those guidelines are written with the word shall all over the place.
Good point. Yeah, I can bring that up with Chris. And I know most of the language he got too from the Secretary of the Interior's guidelines as well. So I'll just double check with him about that.
Yeah, and I'm just philosophically, as us, as the HDC, I don't think that we can publish regulations, right?
That's a good question. We are, to my understanding, we are able to publish guidelines like we're talking about right now. I'd have to talk to Michael Driscoll, the city attorney, about the regulation portion, but we are a city commission established by an ordinance. So we are able to, provide policies and I can't speak, sorry guys, policies and procedures and vote on that for the commission.
Okay.
I thought we were more of an oversight rather
Mm.
than regulatory.
Well, we are regulatory.
Okay, all right.
I just
Not just
wanna
oversight.
I just want to be clear before we publish this document on, are we publishing a guideline that is something that we'll use in helping make decisions and people use? Or are these this is set in stone, this is what has to be done, shall be done, and there's no deviation from that?
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
No, that's a good
That's what
point,
we're
Greg.
for.
And what is the which is are we doing?
Well, we are doing the guidelines, so these would be more encouraging and not regulatory,
Okay,
and not in the sense of that you must, you shall sort of thing,
okay,
if that makes sense.
yes.
But I'll follow up with Chris about that language just to be sure. So good
It's
point.
just something I'm sensitive to because I do a lot of contract work for the government, and it's very, shoulds are very different than shalls.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You shall consider this. That gives them,
Well, there you go.
Tim knows what I'm talking about.
indeed.
The other
Yes.
thing I just wanted to bring up quickly under Chairman's report is that, my hope would be to approve the design guidelines at the next meeting. And fairly soon thereafter, my plan is to resign as chairman. And I have not left you guys without a chairman or without members. I've been working to fill in some of those gaps. Tim, the current vice chairman, has very graciously and with coercion agreed to take over role as chairman. So he and I are going to talk about a transition and some training and that sort of thing. And I've also filled our last alternate spot because we had one opening remaining. And his name is Jake Stahl. He just recently moved to Washington Street, and he's great. He's very interested in the historic district and also being a part of the commission. So I think he'll be another really great addition to the commission to fill our last alternate spot. So those are the things that I wanted to just share with you guys.
Is everyone aware of Richard Geidebeck?
No, yeah.
So he's in the
guess-
hospital. He's been in the hospital the last handful of days, and that's why he's not on the screen.
Oh.
I don't know what the details are, but wait a minute. Cam said it's pretty serious.
Oh
when
my
he
goodness.
spoke to his wife.
I
Yeah.
did not know that. I had texted him because normally he's here, so I was actually
Yeah,
shocked to
exactly.
not see him. So I did not
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah. If I get more details, I'll let people know.
Yeah, thank you, Greg. I didn't know that. Yeah, I'll reach out.
Okay, he's evidently home, right? Okay, he's home but not talking to anyone.
Hmm.
I think he's
Okay.
sort of just out of it.
I'm
All
sorry.
right, thought I'd let you know.
So Regan, regarding, members and things, I had a question on that. I recently was just looking on the city website, and it seems like the membership and terms on that are kind of messed up.
Oh, they always are, Greg. Yeah, they don't update them in a timely manner. Yeah. You're totally right. Probably when they normally they remember to do that when like we get a new commission member and they have to go update it on the website. So I can remind the city clerks if they could just update the time limits, because you're right. They're probably all even expired now. I haven't looked, so.
I looked at it, I have to look at mine, I think, and I just had to, mine was just re-upped recently, and it's
Yeah.
supposed to be 5 years for a member, but I think mine expires in a year.
Oh,
And they
yeah.
just re-upped me, so I'm like, what, that's a little screwed up.
Yeah. Yeah, I can reach out to the clerks about that. Because you're right, it's never updated in a timely manner. Okay, sorry, just writing myself a note. Anything further to discuss before the commission at this time? Anyone have any other comments to make or any thoughts? Hearing none, I'll just say that our next meeting then is Wednesday, February 16th, 2022, 5:30. We're going to be on Zoom. I think that's just going to be the way of the world for the next few months. And
February what, 16th?
February 16th. Yep,
Yeah, 5:30, okay.
February 16th.
So Regan, if we keep pushing off approving the guidelines, does that mean you have to stay chairman longer?
Yeah,
Don't be
forever,
sneaky, Greg Johnson.
forever.
Thank you, Greg.
We
I'm
can't
not gonna
see
leave
you.
you guys
Tim.
anyway immediately. I mean, I'm expecting to help Tim and do a transition. So I'm not
Why
running
can't we
away
see him?
immediately. Why can't
He's
we see
hiding
Tim?
from
Oh,
us. Yeah,
Why
Oh, he
can't
probably
you
has
see
some-
me?
yeah, he probably has a big bushy beard he doesn't want us to see.
No, I shaved it.
Oh, you did? Wow, I won't recognize you then.
No, I try to keep myself one step ahead of the facial recognition software, so they'll never catch me.
Funny. That's funny. All right, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
So
we
moved.
got 2 seconds.
Thank you, Greg Johnson. And was that you, Greg Barlow, seconding?
Okay, I'll second.
Sounds good. We'll give you a second now, this time.
I do get a second, thanks.
All right, I'll just do the roll call vote for the last time. So Tim, I'll start with you then.
I'm gonna say one thing before. Keep me apprised of your edit sessions with Chris
sure.
there, whatever, and then we can do some training, obviously, beforehand, so we can get me a little bit more involved in notifying City Hall and all the other stuff to get this off your plate. So,
Sounds good. We'll connect.
and I will say aye.
Thank you. Greg Barlow
Hi.
and Greg Johnson,
Aye.
Nancy,
Aye.
Yeah.
also aye. So thank you all. Motion passes. We'll see you in February.
Okay, tell me
Alright.
about Burger King that you know about it. Anything? No, I'm
I
just
don't-
curious.
I don't
Nothing
know
is-
much. I don't know
it's
much,
just
Greg. I gotta
nowhere.
be honest. I don't know.
Just nowhere at this point then. Okay,
I haven't heard anything.
all right.
Let sleeping dogs lie.
Yeah.
There's Tim. Look at him without his
Hey,
beard.
he's here.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, you're muted, my friend.
Unbearded and muted.
Muted, yeah. Yeah, this will be fun.
Hmm.
Congratulations on having a backup.
Yeah.
Works out.
All right.
Thank you, everyone. Go enjoy your
Adios,
dinner.
everyone.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.